Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. We all know that XRP can handle up to 1,500 transactions per second on chain, right? Because that's been a figure that's just been discussed for years. It's just something we happen to know. It's a fact of life, right? Well, Ripple's now touting that the XRP ledger can handle up to 3,400 transactions per second. And if you compare that to what was being touted back in 2015, that's actually a 4,150% increase in terms of transactions per second. There's a 4,150% throughput increase to get to that level. Again, compared back to what was being touted back in 2015. And by the way, that 2015 figure, then I'll jump into it as we get into the video. I actually was unaware of that. You know, it's just interesting. There's some little like basic facts that I just find fascinating that I just pick up over time. And look, I've been in this almost 6 years, but I don't pretend to be a know-it-all. This is just one little interesting thing. I was like, oh, I did not know that. And then there's also some changes probably coming to the XRP ledger, which sound to be rather positive, thanks to the amendment process built into the XRP ledger. And I want to cover some of that as well, including a clawback feature. Now that is rather fascinating. So what we're talking about in a nutshell, and I'll get into the specifics again as we go through the video, but you're talking about being able to claw back transactions on the XRP ledger. That might sound scary on the surface, but don't worry, it's not actually bad. Before going further, though, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. Ripple increases XRP ledger transactions per second from 1,500 to 3,400. Ripple has triggered discussions within the XRP community with its recent update that claims to boost the XRP ledger's throughput from 1,500 to a staggering 3,400 transactions per second. Kevin Cage, an investment advisor at Iron Key Capital, first called attention to the development, questioning the sudden jump in the XRP ledger's throughput. And here is a post from my fellow XRP YouTuber Kevin Cage from just the other day. And he shared this screen grab, which I'll make full screen for a second or two here. And he wrote the following. XRP question. I noticed this recently. Not sure if it's been showing through TPS for a while, transactions per second. Why does Ripple site say 3,400 transactions per second rather than the standard 1,500 for the XRP ledger? Thanks. And here's Ripple's actual website. You can see utility for the new global economy. And all I can do is scroll on down. And this is where it came from right here. Now, I also wanted to mention something, too, because I actually highlighted a post from Kevin Cage on social media platform X. And it may have been 3 or 4 weeks ago. I can't remember exactly how long ago. I could probably find the thing because he actually shared this screen grab. It just wasn't highlighted yellow with the 3,400 transactions per second, but he shared this screen grab. And I highlighted something from him in a video, one of my videos. So it's out there somewhere on my channel. And I was making a broader point about his comment, not as much about the screen grab, but about his comment. And I was making some point, I just can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember the screen grab was there. And the reason that I remember it is because, number one, the format looks the same. Number two, I read the damn thing, and under this little section that says scalable, it said 3,400 transactions per second. And I didn't know where he got it from because in his post, he didn't say that it came from Ripple, and there's no indication on the actual screen grab. And it wasn't that big of a deal. I was like, okay, it's just touting some awesome stuff about XRP. And I was like, I guess that whoever put this together, they just got something, just a very well-known factual thing wrong because the transactions per second are 1,500, not 3,400. And so I just chalked it up to a mistake, and I didn't even mention it in the video, but it was on the screen on my channel even. I just chalked it up to probably just a mistake. Because, and now, again, I didn't know that it was coming from Ripple, though. If I knew it was coming from Ripple, I think I would have said something here. And so I guess Kevin Cage didn't initially catch that, and he caught it just the other day, which is why the community started discussing this more. And it seems like, this is technically something that was known, but two things. First of all, I think Ripple's jumping the gun because it's not actually true yet, and I'll explain in just a second. And then also, in the developer community, like this was just understood to be the case that we're going this direction. So I found that fascinating. And by the way, as far as the throughput here, my understanding, because and look, I'm not like a developer type. I don't code stuff. But I asked the question in my earliest of days, and I'm sure many of you did the same when you jumped into XRP, jumped into the XRP community. You're like, okay, 1,500 transactions per second, that's way faster than Bitcoin and ETH, so on and so forth. But is that actually enough? What about tens of thousands of transactions that you can handle through legacy finance with like credit cards like Visa or MasterCard? Because they got some big numbers in terms of transactions per second. That like this doesn't stand up. And although I can't give you a complete technical answer, I did ask that on what is now known as X, but Twitter back then, back in 2017, 2018, whenever it was. And the answer came, I remember Matt Hamilton was the first one to ever answer the question for me. And he basically told me, I'll just have to paraphrase here. He's like, no, it's not a problem, because what you can do is, even though on layer 1, yes, it's true, 1,500 transactions per second, and you could bump up against that in theory if there's some truly great global adoption. He said basically you can batch transactions, so basically you can have a clump of individual transactions set into one batch, and then it counts as a transaction, and as a result, effectively, you can scale into practically infinity. And so that's the idea that he was communicating to me. And then I spit back what I thought he was saying to me, and he said, yes, that's correct. So I think that's correct. I just, those in the most lay terms, how I could describe to you that particular answer, because I'm not a dev guy. I'm not going to ever, I don't want to be a code guy. That's not my cup of tea. I love the guys that do that, and I'm thrilled that there are types that are in there, but that's a small percentage of us in the community. But I always have to go to them to get things cleared up. So when it comes to amenitance and stuff, anything technical, just like I'm just as clueless as the next guy until I go to a developer and I'm like, what the hell does this mean? Can you translate your nerd speak? Because I don't know just by reading this necessarily anyway what it means. I mean, some stuff is kind of obvious, but not always. And so here you can see, and this is from Ripple, the engineering portion of their website. This is the relevant portion right here. This is from July 7th, 2023. So the 3,400 number, it was public back then, even from Ripple. It's just, it was not circulated and nobody caught on to it. And even weeks ago, like I said, I saw the 3,400 transaction per second, and I was like, it's got to be mistakes. I just didn't even say anything. I wonder how many other people thought the same thing. But anyway, so this is from Ripple's website. They wrote, improving XRP ledger throughput. Throughput is the most important non-functional capability for transaction processing networks such as the XRP ledger. This project depends on ever-increasing utilization to succeed. Therefore, the XRP ledger needs to continuously improve its capacity. This post describes the role of analysis in improving throughput of the XRP ledger. The process was first used at Ripple in 2015. The initial tested throughput was about 80 XRP payment transactions per second. And so, folks, that's what I was citing at the outset of the video. I had never seen that figure. 80 XRP payment transactions per second back in 2015. And so that's why if you compare that to the 3,400 number, it's over 4,000% increase, 4,150% actually. And so, and they even cite that here, or something close to it. They wrote, recent testing for an upcoming release resulted in over 3,400 sustained transactions per second. This is over 4,000% improvement. The bulk of this improvement resulted from this process. And by the way, you may ask, if you can just basically scale transactions on the XRP ledger into infinity, as I was alluding to just a moment ago, like, why don't you just do that now? And the answer is, it's not remotely pressing. We're not even close to bumping up to even 1,500 transactions per second. Like from a capabilities perspective, the XRP ledger is just light years ahead of so much of the competition, specifically in that metric. And think about it, being coded in 2012 and launching, I believe the launch was technically the beginning of 2013. I always forget that. It's either the end of 2012 or the beginning of 2013 when it technically went public. But either way, the point is, like, it was just light years ahead of the competition, to the point where even a decade later, we're just not even close to bumping up against that. So anyway, I just think it's cool stuff. And then there's this on the same topic here. There's other stuff happening. Here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. Ripple X announces latest version of XRP Ledger. Rippled 1.12.0. Ripple X, the XRPL developer community platform, has officially unveiled the latest version of the XRP Ledger, Rippled 1.12.0. This update introduces two noteworthy features, XLS30 and XLS39, merged into the XRP Ledger's core protocol. RippleX has initiated a voting process to usher in these changes. So, folks, I have talked about XLS30 a number of times on the channel here, but I actually honestly hadn't heard of XLS39 yet. So I don't know if that's something that was just more widely known within the developer portion of our community, but I hadn't seen it being discussed on social media. It didn't pop up anywhere. No articles about it until it popped up right here. And it sounds rather interesting, and this is where we're talking about clawbacks of transactions. So check this out. They talk about both of them here. The first feature, XLS30, brings a native automated market maker to the XRP ledger. This innovation integrates with the existing XRP ledger decentralized exchange, allowing users to trade assets in automated pools. The upcoming automated market maker, or AMM for short, is one of the most anticipated additions to the XRP ledger. Notably, Ripple CTO David Schwartz noted that he is most excited about the feature. Key figures have unveiled how proponents could earn side incomes from the AMM. Furthermore, the second feature, XLS39, ushers in the clawback amendment. This amendment will allow issuers to opt in for asset retrieval. Notably, issuers can only claw back assets created by their accounts, with XRP being an exception. And so, folks, just to be clear here, XRP cannot be clawed back. No, it cannot. So if anybody was worried about, though, you have to be talking about anything that's tokenized on the XRP ledger. And the default is that it's actually off anyway. So it's basically, it's an optional feature. That's what it was. It's not bad. And I swear, if any of those little idiot Bitcoin maxi trolls comes out talking about transactions being clawed back on the XRP ledger, so help me God, I will be, I guess I'll have burnt biscuits and steamed vegetables, and I think it'll grind up my gears. All three at once, simultaneously. That's unacceptable. But I remember back half a decade ago, it's amazing how the fake news, it's so propagated in the world of crypto, because even some of the most reputable people who were, even if they were trying to operate in good faith and they're just part of the Bitcoin community, they were spouting all sorts of lies about, XRP can be frozen, this or that. And none of that was true, obviously. There's no freeze feature on the XRP ledger for XRP. Any XRP that was quote unquote frozen was done so on a cryptocurrency exchange. And actually there were instances like that. And so the Bitcoin maxis would, they'd report reality in a way that was intended to deceive. They'd report something that was true. Okay, here's what happened with an exchange, and then say, see, you can freeze XRP, and people fell for that crap. Remember, Roger Ver fell for it until David Schwartz straightened him out, and then Roger Ver issued a public apology for getting it wrong, and he thanked David Schwartz for correcting him, getting the record straight. But obviously, it's not the case that you can freeze XRP. But when you're talking about having any cryptocurrency that's held in a wallet that you don't have the key for, yeah, they can remove your access from it. Absolutely. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. Not your keys, not your crypto, bro. It's not something that's unique to XRP, but some of the Bitcoin maxis out there, they'd want you to believe that is indeed the case. So anyway, all that to say, there's interesting stuff happening surrounding the XRP ledger. Amendments keep on coming. And from a utility perspective, I mean, look, functionally, and this is what's so fantastic, this is why it's a pleasure being an XRP holder, we don't have the disputes that you've had with many other cryptocurrencies. We don't have to argue about block size, and even if there is something that you'd like to change for the XRP ledger, there's a built-in amendment process, so you don't have to have constant forks. That's why there's only been several forks ever of the XRP ledger in that regard. And those forks, my understanding is all of them have died off. I've talked about it on the channel in the past. They're all gone. I'm not aware of one that still exists. Anyway, is what it is. Lots to look forward to. I'll wrap up here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.